I told my sister-in-law to stop one-upping us, and she didn't like it. Now she's asking for help. Here's the story. Let's rewind, shall we? My 32F husband, Mark, 34M, has a sister, Crystal, 30F. Now, Crystal wasn't just your run-of-the-mill golden child. She was a walking, talking, shimmering beacon of entitlement. Mark's parents, bless their hearts, or curse them, depending on the day, had always coddled her, giving her everything her little heart desired, while Mark was expected to be the responsible one. This, as you can imagine, led to Crystal developing a severe case of "I'm better than you" syndrome, a chronic condition she directed primarily at us. It wasn't just material possessions. If we bought a new appliance, she'd renovate her entire kitchen with imported Italian marble and a chef's grade oven, then post pictures on Instagram with the caption, "Peasants wouldn't understand." If we took a weekend road trip to a national park, she'd fly to a 5-star resort in the Maldives, posting endless, filtered photos on social media with captions like, "Living my best life. You should try it sometime if you can afford it." If I got a promotion, she'd announce she was starting a business, which, as we later found out, was a pyramid scheme masquerading as a wellness company that sold overpriced essential oils and empty promises of financial freedom. Her constant need to one-up us was exhausting. Her comments were always laced with condescension, a subtle poison that ate away at my patience. "Oh, that's a nice little car," she'd say, gesturing to our reliable sedan. "But I just got a limited edition SUV. It's an investment, you know. My investments always pay off." Or if I shared a recipe, she would comment, "That recipe was interesting, but I added a few minor tweaks to make it perfect," and then proceed to take credit for the improved version. One day, at a family dinner, she was flaunting a designer handbag that cost more than our rent, bragging about its investment potential. I snapped. I told her in no uncertain terms to stop. The room went silent. Mark's parents were aghast, and Crystal started her usual waterworks, a performance she'd perfected since childhood. Mark, caught between his family and me, tried to play peacemaker, but I could see the wariness in his eyes. We left, and the tension was thick, a suffocating blanket of resentment. Then her carefully crafted facade crumbled. Turns out her lavish lifestyle was built on credit card debt and a crumbling marriage. Her husband, Derek, finally had enough. He filed for divorce, taking half of their meager savings, which, given her spending habits, wasn't much. She came crawling to us, begging for help, a desperate, pathetic creature stripped of her illusions. Mark, being the good soul he is, agreed to let her stay with us with strict rules, rent, chores, and no drama. She immediately started complaining. The room was too small, the food was too basic, and we didn't have a live-in butler. She tried to redecorate the living room with her designer taste, using the rent money we asked her to pay, and ruined our couch with a rare imported throw blanket she found at a discount. And then things got really interesting. Remember her wellness company? Turns out it was a full-blown pyramid scheme with international money laundering ties. People were losing money and they were furious, making physical threats against Crystal and even sending threatening messages to Mark and I. Crystal, of course, played the victim, claiming she was misunderstood. Mark's parents, predictably, swooped in to rescue her. They hired a high-powered lawyer, claiming she was being targeted, and even tried to guilt-trip Mark into helping, saying, "She's your sister. You can't abandon her." They even opened hidden trust funds to pay for her legal fees, keeping Mark in the dark and using emotional blackmail, claiming it was his duty as a son to help his sister. Meanwhile, Derek started dating someone new, Sarah. Sarah was everything Crystal wasn't: grounded, kind, and financially responsible. Crystal, unable to handle it, started stalking Sarah, leaving nasty comments on her social media and even sending her threatening messages, and even tried to get Sarah fired by calling her employer with false accusations, claiming Sarah was having an affair with Derek. Sarah, being a sane human, reported Crystal to the police. Crystal got a restraining order. Did that stop her? Of course not. She started showing up at Derek's work, waiting outside his apartment, and even tried to break into Sarah's condo, leading to her being arrested for violating the restraining order. Mark's parents, instead of being mortified, blamed Sarah. They said she was trying to ruin Crystal's life, and even tried to convince Derek to drop the charges, using emotional blackmail and threats of cutting him out of the family. Then, The real bombshell dropped. Crystal, facing lawsuits and potential jail time, tried to blackmail Mark. She found some old, embarrassing photos of him from college and threatened to post them online if he didn't help her, and even tried to frame Mark for a drug possession from college that she had fabricated. That was my breaking point. I confronted Crystal, telling her that if she posted those photos, I would expose her pyramid scheme to everyone she knew. I had been gathering evidence for months, including screenshots of her recruitment tactics, testimonies from people she had scammed, and even recordings of her manipulative pitches. She scoffed, thinking I was bluffing. I showed her the evidence. She paled. She backed down, but she swore revenge, her eyes filled with a terrifying, cold fury. Crystal, in a last-ditch effort to save her reputation, tried to become an influencer. She posted heavily filtered photos of herself, pretending to live a luxurious life, even though she was living in our spare room. She even tried to sell discount codes for her pyramid scheme products, which only made her legal troubles worse, and even tried to have her cult-like followers attack my social media accounts with coordinated harassment. Mark's parents, after their initial defense of Crystal, started to crack. They realized the extent of her lies and manipulation. They even started to resent her for dragging their name through the mud, fearing how it would affect their social standing. But then, they started a GoFundMe for legal fees and asked Mark to share it, trying to guilt-trip him and claiming that Mark was abandoning a sick and helpless sister. Crystal, facing the reality of her situation, went on a victim tour. She gave tearful interviews to local news stations, claiming she was naive and misled. She even tried to Derek and Sarah for ruining her life, and even tried to claim that I was the mastermind of the whole situation, claiming I was jealous of her success. During one of her court appearances for violating the restraining order, a former recruit from her pyramid scheme showed up with a flash drive containing recordings of Crystal's recruitment pitches. The recordings revealed her blatant lies and manipulation tactics, along with evidence of the money laundering. The judge was not amused. Just when we thought things couldn't get more dramatic, Crystal announced she was pregnant. She claimed it was Derek's, even though they had been separated for months. Derek rightfully demanded a paternity test. It was not his. She then claimed it was someone she met, and that she needed support now more than ever, and that the baby had severe health issues to gain sympathy and financial assistance. Mark's parents, in a desperate attempt to salvage Crystal's reputation, tried to convince Mark to claim the baby as his own. They said it was his duty as a brother. Mark finally stood up to them, breaking years of toxic family dynamics and telling them that he was done being their doormat. After the court recordings went viral, the internet turned on Crystal. Memes were made, her social media was flooded with hate comments, and her influencer career was officially over. She even tried to do a public apology video, but it only made things worse, and her cult-like followers turned on her, revealing more of her lies. Then, the unthinkable happened. Crystal, in a desperate attempt for attention and money, planned a fake kidnapping of her own baby and tried to blame it on Derek and Sarah, leading to a massive media frenzy and turning Mark and I into unwilling participants of a public spectacle. She even went on talk shows, crying about the trauma and injustice, while secretly laughing about how she was manipulating everyone. The whole ordeal has been a nightmare. Mark and I are still dealing with the fallout. His parents are trying to make amends, but the damage is done. Crystal is facing multiple lawsuits, and her future is uncertain. Derek and Sarah are thriving, and I couldn't be happier for them. And me? I'm exhausted, but I'm also vindicated. I stood up for myself, I exposed the truth, and I didn't back down. And honestly, it was worth it. The aftermath was a messy, drawn-out affair. Crystal's legal battles dragged on, each court appearance a new circus of her theatrics. The pyramid scheme victims were relentless, their testimonies painting a vivid picture of Crystal's manipulative tactics, revealing the extent of her lies and the financial devastation she caused. The judge, clearly unimpressed, didn't mince words, delivering scathing rebukes and imposing hefty fines. Her influencer attempt crashed and burned spectacularly. The internet, as it often does, turned her into a cautionary tale. Memes mocking her filtered photos and delusional claims spread like wildfire, turning her into a laughing stock. Her attempts at damage control, including a tearful apology video that only highlighted her lack of self-awareness and self-pity, backfired spectacularly, fueling the flames of online ridicule. The pregnancy bombshell added another layer of chaos. Derek's insistence on a paternity test was vindicated, proving she had lied. Crystal's subsequent vague claims about the father only fueled the online speculation and ridicule as the internet tried to guess who the father was. Mark's parents, in their final act of enabling, tried to convince him to claim the baby as his own. Their logic, twisted as it was that it would restore the family's honor and save Crystal from public shame. Mark, finally breaking free from their control, refused, a moment of triumph and liberation. This marked a significant turning point in their relationship, a painful but necessary severing of the toxic dynamic. The fallout within the family was immense. Mark and I had to set firm boundaries with his parents. We limited contact and made it clear that we wouldn't tolerate any more attempts to manipulate us. They were hurt, confused, and resentful, but they eventually began to understand the consequences of their actions, though the process was slow and arduous. Crystal, facing the reality of her situation, spiraled. She became increasingly erratic, her social media posts a bizarre mix of self-pity, delusional optimism, and thinly veiled threats, a desperate attempt to cling to some semblance of control. She even tried to start a new business, a crowdfunding campaign to help her rebuild her life, which was met with universal derision and mockery. One particularly infuriating development was when she tried to sue Sarah for emotional distress, claiming Sarah had stolen Derek from her, a ludicrous claim that only highlighted Crystal's delusional state. The judge, after hearing Crystal's rambling testimony and reviewing the evidence, dismissed the case with prejudice and even fined Crystal for wasting the court's time, a small victory in the face of so much chaos. The most satisfying moment, however, came during the sentencing for her pyramid scheme charges. The judge, after hearing the victim's testimonies and reviewing the evidence, delivered a scathing rebuke, highlighting the international scope of her fraud and the devastating impact on countless lives. She emphasized the damage Crystal had caused, not just financially, but emotionally, and sentenced her to a significant period of community service and restitution, a punishment that finally felt commensurate with her crimes. Crystal, of course, broke down in the courtroom, wailing about how unfair it all was, clinging to her victim narrative even in the face of overwhelming evidence. Mark and I watched, a mix of vindication and weariness, the weight of the ordeal finally lifting. The aftermath was a slow, painful process. Mark's parents, finally realizing the extent of their enabling, began to seek therapy, a long overdue step towards self-awareness. They started to acknowledge their role in Crystal's behavior and to work on rebuilding their relationship with Mark, a fragile process of trust and forgiveness, marked by hesitant apologies and awkward attempts at connection. Crystal, meanwhile, was forced to confront the reality of her situation. The community service was a humbling experience, forcing her to interact with people from all walks of life, people she had previously dismissed as beneath her, people who had built their lives on hard work and integrity. The restitution payments, while a fraction of what she owed, were a constant reminder of her past actions, a tangible consequence of her deceit. Derek and Sarah, finally free from Crystal's drama, thrived. They built a happy, stable life together, a stark contrast to the chaos Crystal had created. They got married, had kids, and lived a life of peace. As for Mark and me, we focused on healing and rebuilding our lives. We learned to prioritize our own well-being and to set firm boundaries with toxic people, a crucial lesson learned in the crucible of this ordeal. We also learned the importance of speaking up and standing up for ourselves, even when it's difficult, a newfound strength forged in the face of adversity. The whole experience was a brutal lesson in family dynamics, entitlement, and the consequences of unchecked narcissism. It was a long, exhausting, and infuriating ordeal, but in the end, we emerged stronger and more resilient, scarred but not broken. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. The quiet that followed was almost deafening. After the legal battles, the social media firestorm, and the family confrontations, a strange sense of normalcy settled, a welcome respite from the constant drama. Crystal, humbled and facing the consequences of her actions, became a shadow of her former self. The constant barrage of her demands and drama ceased, replaced by a reluctant compliance, a far cry from the entitled whirlwind she once was. Her community service became a source of reluctant, almost begrudging self-reflection. She was forced to interact with people she had previously dismissed as beneath her, people who had built their lives on hard work and integrity, people whose lives were a stark contrast to her own carefully constructed facade. The stark contrast between their lives and her own carefully constructed facade began to chip away at her inflated ego, forcing her to confront the reality of her choices. The restitution payments, though a drop in the bucket compared to the damage she had caused, served as a constant reminder of her past actions, a tangible consequence of her deceit and manipulation. Each payment was a painful reminder of the lives she had disrupted and the trust she had betrayed. Mark's parents' journey was a slow, painful process of self-discovery. Therapy forced them to confront their enabling behavior, their blind devotion to Crystal, and the damage they had inflicted on Mark, a long overdue reckoning with their own flawed parenting. They started to acknowledge their role in creating the monster that Crystal had become, a painful admission that shattered their long-held illusions. There were awkward, tearful conversations, apologies that were both heartfelt and hesitant, a tentative bridge built over years of neglect and manipulation. They began to rebuild their relationship with Mark, a fragile process of trust and forgiveness, marked by hesitant apologies and awkward attempts at connection, a long and arduous road to healing. They learned to listen, to validate his feelings, and to acknowledge the years of neglect and manipulation, a crucial step towards reconciliation. Derek and Sarah, meanwhile, became a beacon of normalcy, a symbol of what could have been if not for Crystal's chaos. Their lives, free from Crystal's drama, were filled with quiet contentment, a stark contrast to the turbulent storm that had once surrounded them. They built a home, a life, and a future that was grounded in mutual respect and genuine affection, a testament to their resilience and strength. Mark and I focused on our own healing, a long and necessary journey of self-discovery. The experience had taken a toll, leaving us emotionally drained and wary, scarred but not broken. We learned to set firm boundaries, to prioritize our own well-being, and to recognize the red flags of toxic behavior, lessons etched in the fires of adversity. We also learned the importance of vulnerability, the power of sharing our pain and seeking support. We shared our experiences with trusted friends and family, finding solace in their understanding and validation. We learned that we were not alone, that others had experienced similar situations, and that healing was possible, a powerful reminder of the human capacity for resilience. One unexpected development was the support we received from online communities. Strangers who had followed the saga online reached out with messages of support and encouragement, offering a lifeline in the midst of the storm. They shared their own stories of dealing with toxic family members, offering advice and validation, a testament to the power of online connection. The internet, which had initially been a source of chaos and ridicule for Crystal, became a source of strength and solidarity for us, a strange twist of fate. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always light, kindness, and understanding, a beacon of hope in the face of despair. Crystal's pregnancy, initially a source of drama and manipulation, became a quiet, almost anticlimactic footnote, a somber reminder of the consequences of her actions. She gave birth to a healthy baby, a stark reminder of the responsibilities she had shirked for so long. She was forced to confront the reality of single motherhood, the financial and emotional burdens of raising a child alone, a harsh but necessary lesson in accountability. The baby, ironically, became a catalyst for change, a tiny beacon of hope in the midst of chaos. It forced Crystal to focus on something other than herself, to prioritize the needs of another human being, a radical departure from her self-centered existence. It was a slow, painful process, but she began to learn the meaning of responsibility and selflessness, a glimmer of redemption in a sea of darkness. The final, unexpected twist came years later. Mark and I had built a good life, a life free from the drama and toxicity that had once defined our existence. Mark and his parents had a healthy relationship, a testament to their hard-won healing. Derek and Sarah were happy, their lives a picture of peace and contentment. We were all at a family gathering, a tentative reunion after years of estrangement. Crystal showed up with her child. She was different, quieter, more reflective, less flamboyant. She apologized. A real apology, not the fake kind, a genuine expression of remorse. She took responsibility for her actions, acknowledging the pain and damage she had caused. She said therapy had helped her see the light, a testament to the power of self-reflection and healing. She was working a normal job and was trying to be a good mom, a far cry from the entitled socialite she once pretended to be. It was surprising, it was unexpected, it was a little unsettling, a reminder of the past we had worked so hard to overcome. But it was also a little hopeful, a glimmer of light in the darkness. It was a reminder that people can change, even the most toxic of people, even those who seem beyond redemption. It was a reminder that healing is possible, even after the deepest wounds, even after years of pain and betrayal. And it was a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and drama, there is always the possibility of redemption, a testament to the enduring power of hope and forgiveness. The years that followed were a strange mix of quiet resolution and lingering unease. The dust had settled, the legal battles were over, and the social media storm had finally subsided, leaving behind a strange sense of normalcy. Crystal, surprisingly, seemed to be making an effort, a far cry from the entitled hurricane she once was. Her community service, initially a source of complaint and resentment, became a sort of reluctant awakening. She was forced to interact with people she had previously dismissed as beneath her, people who had built lives on hard work and integrity, people whose stories challenged her carefully constructed worldview. She even started volunteering at a local charity, a far cry from her previous life of designer handbags and five-star resorts. The restitution payments, while a constant reminder of her past actions, also became a symbol of her attempt at accountability. Each payment, however small, was a step towards repairing the damage she had caused, a tangible demonstration of her commitment to making amends. Mark's parents, after their long and arduous journey through therapy, had finally begun to understand the extent of their enabling. They had acknowledged their role in creating the monster that Crystal had become, a painful but necessary step towards healing. They had rebuilt their relationship with Mark, a fragile bridge built over years of neglect and manipulation, a testament to their willingness to change. Derek and Sarah, meanwhile, were thriving. Their lives, free from Crystal's chaos, were filled with a quiet contentment, a stark contrast to the turbulent storm that had once surrounded them. They had built a home, a life, and a future that was grounded in mutual respect and genuine affection, a testament to their resilience and strength. Mark and I, however, were still dealing with the emotional fallout. The experience had left us scarred, a lingering wariness that colored our interactions with family. We had learned to set firm boundaries, to prioritize our own well-being, and to recognize the red flags of toxic behavior, lessons etched in the fires of adversity. We had also learned the importance of vulnerability, the power of sharing our pain and seeking support. We had found solace in online communities, connecting with others who had experienced similar situations, finding strength in shared experiences. One particularly bizarre development was Crystal's attempt to write a memoir, a tell-all account of her life, which she pitched as a story of redemption and self-discovery. The initial reaction was, predictably, one of derision. However, after some intense therapy, she actually seemed to be genuinely remorseful. The book did surprisingly well, and she donated all the profits to the people she scammed. Crystal's pregnancy, initially a source of drama and manipulation, had become a quiet, almost anticlimactic footnote. She was raising her child alone, facing the challenges of single motherhood with a newfound humility. The baby, ironically, had become a catalyst for change, forcing Crystal to focus on someone other than herself, to prioritize the needs of another human being. It was a slow, painful process, but she seemed to be learning the meaning of responsibility and selflessness, a glimmer of redemption in a sea of darkness. The final, unexpected twist came years later. Mark and I had built a good life, a life free from the drama and toxicity that had once defined our existence. Mark and his parents had a healthy relationship, a testament to their hard-won healing. Derek and Sarah were happy, their lives a picture of peace and contentment. We were all at a family gathering, a tentative reunion after years of estrangement. Crystal showed up with her child. She was different, quieter, more reflective, less flamboyant. She apologized, a real apology, not the fake kind, a genuine expression of remorse. She took responsibility for her actions, acknowledging the pain and damage she had caused. She said therapy had helped her see the light, a testament to the power of self-reflection and healing. She was working a normal job and was trying to be a good mom, a far cry from the entitled socialite she once pretended to be. It was surprising. It was unexpected. It was a little unsettling, a reminder of the past we had worked so hard to overcome. But it was also a little hopeful, a glimmer of light in the darkness. It was a reminder that people can change, even the most toxic of people, even those who seem beyond redemption. It was a reminder that healing is possible, even after the deepest wounds, even after years of pain and betrayal. And it was a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and drama, there is always the possibility of redemption, a testament to the enduring power of hope and forgiveness. And in the end, perhaps, that was the most infuriating and yet the most profound lesson of all. The saga of Crystal, the chaos bringer, had finally come to a close, leaving behind a strange mix of scars and hope, a testament to the messy, complicated, and ultimately resilient nature of family. If you thought that was crazy, hit that like button and subscribe for more wild stories. And if you didn't quite enjoy it, feel free to hit the dislike. Your feedback means a lot. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or share your own experiences. And don't forget to check out my other videos for more insane tales. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.